Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It is the latest of our video calls while we're chatting to everybody while we're all stuck at home at the minute. I am delighted to say our guest today from The Devil Wears Prada, Mike, is on the line. How are you, Mike?
I'm fine, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Good to see you. And we'll start this off in the way we've started off every single one of these, and the 100 odd we've done over the last year, which is say, hope you, your bandmates, your family, your loved ones, all staying safe, all staying well during, this very, very odd time that we find ourselves in. And before we get into all the music and all that exciting stuff, just generally, how's it been for you, man? Another one of these bands where you kind of live on the road. This must be nice in a way to have a bit of an extended period at home, right?
Yeah, it really is. We're a bunch of old men these days, a bunch of grandpas. So it is nice to rest up. Recently, it's been some of the longest stints I've gone without yelling, which is weird and crazy. And yeah, it's bizarre how time feels super slow but super fast. It's just really like a day-to-day matter. But yeah, just resting up and certainly ready to play shows again, but trying to keep in best mental health and just do what I can. We're all having to go through this.
Yeah, doing what you can. That's the mantra, isn't it? You just got to keep going and keep doing what you can, dude. I respect you for that. And it's nice to see that you guys, like many others, managing to stay creative while you're not able to get out on the road. Like you say, this new EP is kind of imminent, really, at the time of recording. I guess by the time people see this, it will be just about to drop. Tell me a little bit about it, man. A sequel of sorts, I guess. But when did the actual idea for this start to develop, and when did these songs come together for you guys?
I can't recall when Kyle really first started cooking up demos, but basically the idea came about with Zombie turning 10 years old, and we wanted to do a 7-inch, do 2 new songs. But like the pandemic, everything kept lengthening. So we realized how much time we'd have at home and realized there's no better opportunity to make more than just 2 songs. So over the course of the summer and into early fall was writing and recording, re-recording, and getting everything all tidied up, mixed and mastered. So it's been a while in the making. Usually I think, when the world is more ordinary, you have a faster turnaround, but we weren't really grinding as fast as we usually would for like a full length. So we took our time with everything and made sure everything was right visually and of course audibly. So yeah, it's been probably not quite a year since I started vocals on everything and whatnot, but it's been the process.
Yeah, was there a bit of trepidation approaching something like this? Because, like you say, it was such a big moment for you guys, that first EP. When 10 years ago, it's kind of crazy. But when you're approaching something like this, so the original idea, like you say, couple of tracks, nice little extra thing, re-release would have made a lot of sense. But this is effectively a sequel, or at least thematically very much in the same world. How do you approach something like that? Do you view it as a sequel? I guess is the underlying question.
I do view it as a sequel, but at the same time, it's not, hey, here's like the way I've kind of described it is it's not the back half of the Zombie record. Like It's not to be like if there was tracks 6 through 10 of the original Zombie, these would be those songs, because writing and in band members of this has drastically changed. And even the scope that I wanted to look at the zombie pandemic epidemic, I wanted to be different from where Zombie 1 was. So I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't reluctant because I was excited to take this on, but I think the sort of obvious point is that when you do something like this, you're setting yourself up for people to be like, oh, the first one was better. And I don't read comments and whatnot, and I'm not about to start. So when the actual thing drops, I'm sure there's going to be people saying that the original was better, the first one was better, but it's not meant to be, that back half of the same thing, or it's not supposed to be the one-up version. It's something very different and intentionally so. So yeah, in terms of trepidation, I think that's about where I was at. Our A&R at Solid State, the way he described it was when the new Mad Max movie came out. It wasn't meant to be the sequel, or like this, like it wasn't supposed to be the first one. It's something totally different, but within that same thematic world. And I thought that was a really perfect analogy as to what we were trying to do with Zombie 2 as well. It's It's not to say this is the better version or something like that, but here's 2010 and here's 2021.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing as well. You don't want to repeat yourself ever. Even if you're living in the same world of that you created with that first EP, but you don't want to ever feel like you're repeating yourself. And it's quite nice. It feels like a bit of an expansion on those ideas, like you say, a sort of left step to the left. The Mad Max analogy is pretty good on you, man. It's like, it kind of makes sense that it's from that same world. So do you see yourself, I don't know, playing more in this kind of area, or is this like that's full stop now on the world of zombie?
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought we would write more zombie songs to begin with. When we did the Space EP, we had a lot of fun with it, and I still look back fondly on those songs. So doing the thematic bit feels good for us, and it's a different sort of catharsis versus writing, full length material. It's something that's a creative challenge in a very different world, and it's fun to try to do things that aren't hokey. And I like that challenge and that objective to be achieved. So I don't know. Obviously no one saw COVID turning into what COVID turned into. And I don't know. I like doing things outside the box. I don't like just doing a full length. And that's why we've done things like covering Sour Breath by Julian Baker, or doing the South of the City 7-inch. There's a whole world of different possibilities, and I think rock often gets pegged into a corner as far as you just keep doing the same thing over and over. So we'll see where things lead, but we're stoked with releasing Z2 and also seeing that the act is still growing amongst listeners too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we should mention the track that people kind of can hear right now at the time of recording that's just dropped is Termination, and what lovely reaction that seems to have had. If you could just talk a little bit about how that particular one, I suppose, came to be, and why you thought it was a good representation to get out there ahead of the full EP. It seems like a really good starting off point for people.
Yeah, it's really that. I think something we've always kind of done as far as first signals when releasing a record is to put out what I call middle of the road songs that aren't on either end of the spectrum. With the act, we were kind of different because we wanted to release what was most jarring, being Please Say No early on. But Termination feels like it is very much middle of the road type song for what is the Z2 release. Forlorn is a song that I'm very I would probably consider my favorite. So I think that one's coming here shortly. I'm not sure when this video is released, but I feel really good about Forlorn too. And I think that Termination into Forlorn is a good 1-2 punch as far as what folks can anticipate hearing with the EP. But I think there's some other range in there too. I think we have a song on there called Nora that is unlike anything that Prada has done before, and certainly not something I would want to introduce the EP with. As again, it's more on one side of the spectrum rather than in the middle. But all in all, like I mentioned, we've been sitting on this for a while, and we took our time putting all this together. So, the world is stuck with its feet in cement. So it makes it even harder to the anticipation and the excitement to release these songs. So I'm not a comment reader, but folks seem excited on Termination, which we're certainly grateful for within the camp.
Yeah, and like you say, while the world's feet is very much in cement, you've got to figure out things you can do. Live streams have kind of become the norm over the last year, and I've said this many times in these conversations, but what I just absolutely love is that every single band has been kind of radically different. I haven't really seen any repetition in terms of what people have been trying. They've really tailored it to their own audiences and made it work for them. You guys have got the show coming up around this EP. What can you tell us about it? And I guess, what was your approach for it?
The approach is more like a live show. I think, some bands really came out screaming, being like, this is the closest you can get to a live show, or trying to give that as far as the lights and doing it depending on what your venue is. We didn't want to do that so much with our first two being more of a studio experience. And this one is sort of in the middle. The lighting is much more like what one would expect from a live show. And in fact, working with Quinn, who's our lighting director, on tour a fair amount of time. So it's got a little bit of that, a little bit more spastic, rather than doing something black and white and something a little classier, I guess you might be able to say. But Yeah, it's something, you know, I like anything else, as far as what I would have never anticipated, I would have never anticipated releasing an entire project live before the actual EP. But, you know, we pride ourselves on our live show and our performances. And we pride ourselves in, even like the act where most of the rhythms are all recorded live. Um, there's a time and place for doctoring up recordings, but we like to go all over the place. So yeah, I'm excited to to present these songs live off the bat, and then you know, see where things go and what the reaction is with the actual recording itself, the EP.
Has there been any of these live stream shows over the last year that you've kind of watched yourself and thought, oh, that's a nice idea, or maybe inspired little things here and there, or any you've just been kind of impressed with? What stood out to you?
Yeah, the only one there has been some that I've missed. I know like some of the guys in the band have watched more than others. And again, like watching our buddies in Silverstein and whatnot, or A Day to Remember, which even John, our keyboardist, was a part of. But I've only watched one, which was The Idiot Prayer by Nick Cave, at Alexandria Palace there in, I think, London, which was just Nick performing with the piano. But I loved it. It was amazing. Anything Nick does, I'm a huge fan of. So I tuned into that one, and I certainly appreciated the intimacy of just an artist and his piano going over all of these classic songs and songs that have always meant so much to me. But yeah, to your question, that's the one that stuck out for me, or the one that I was keen to tune into.
Hey, good choice. Nothing wrong with that, man. And a beautiful venue as well, Ali Pali. We do love it over here. Something else I wanted to kind of mention to you, man. It's a little bit later in the year coming up, but as much as landmarks are landmarks, and I never know how much people want to look back or even mark those moments, it is going to be 10 years since Dead Throne, which is still just such a huge moment for the band, such a huge moment. And I just wondered a little bit if you could look back about, I guess, were there any moments there that felt particularly mad to you? You know, it was one of those moments as a band where suddenly you're on the bigger stages, getting to do some huge tours and everything. It felt like a moment where a lot of people really discovered you guys for the first time. What are your sort of memories of that time period, really?
Yeah, I mean, that was our biggest headlining performance and biggest production we've ever assembled. So that definitely sticks out to me. I mean, the thing that it was very recognizable and immediate when we were doing the record, and I still automatically just go back to working with Adam D, and the fact that that was our one of two times working with Adam, and I can't say enough great things about the dude, both as a person but also as an engineer, and what his footprint is, you know, in our scene and in our world. So I just kind of think of that, you know, we did our first three full length records and the Zombie EP all in Indiana with Joey Sturgis, and that was our taking a very big step in, I think, a very important. I think our band's turned the corner in a lot of different ways here and there, but I think that was one of the more monumental ones, was working with Adam D in Massachusetts, and still audibly in terms of the mix and a record. I think it was certainly important to reveal what kind of band we wanted to become, and where our sights were set. And I give a lot of credit to Adam, and really felt like the first time really working with a producer in terms of dismantling songs, reworking songs, and critiquing songs too. And that all goes to Adam. And those are my immediate thoughts looking back 10 years later.
I mean, you said earlier that this new EP was, I guess, originally intended to mark that 10th anniversary of Zombie. Is there anything you're kind of thinking about already in terms of this next Dead Throne anniversary? Is that something you want to mark in? I don't know whether it's new music or whether it's even just a live stream show, whatever it is. Is it something you've discussed yet?
We've discussed new music. We're going to get the wheel spinning in those regards. On the act, we have a song called Chemical that's received some really positive radio play and response here in the States. So it's not to say we're trying to rewrite Chemical or just rewrite songs that are Chemical, but it's a different world for us, and every fan knows that it's never good when a band says they're looking for radio success when they come from the metalcore world as we have. But it's an interesting challenge to us, and I think we're going to be spinning the wheels on what the future could look like in terms of both when you hear a song like Chemical and then you hear a song like Termination. So no point in not writing right now. In terms of Dead Throne and on that, like, we did want to do a 10-year tour where we were playing the record front to back, but I think even without the pandemic, the 10-year tours are pretty played out, which isn't to say that maybe there is an opportunity to do Dead Throne, 11 years later or something. We'll see what the future looks like, but I mean, it's certainly difficult to make plans right now, when I know what tour we were supposed to be doing in the fall, what tour we were supposed to do in the summer, what tour we should have just been wrapping up right now. And, you just have this 1.5 year long lapse there. So we'll see what things look like. We'll see if we are playing shows in the fall. And again, it's too hard to really, after rebooking tours a few times, it's hard to really commit to anything until we really know what the future looks like in terms of vaccinations and being able to be in rooms together again.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, whenever those shows do arrive, we know they're going to go absolutely off, man. People are so excited for live music, and I know I can see already just the reactions for this live stream show, if nothing else. People are very, very excited to see you guys back playing live music. So hopefully we'll get you back over here in the UK sooner rather than later. And in the meantime, man, yeah, just take care of yourselves out there. Love to you, love to the bandmates and all that. And we'll see you soon, hopefully, when things are safe. All right.
Yeah, appreciate it. Can't wait to be back in the UK. And same to you and your family. And day at a time, but hopefully, we'll be across the pond. I got the band's all vaccinated. We're ready to go.
Oh, that's good. There you go. That's something. Yeah, that's something. We're getting there.
That's the positive. Yeah. But again, thank you so much for having me, and my best to the UK.
Of course, man. All right. Lovely to see you, Mike, everybody.